Hello, I'm August Keller, and this is my review of Love Lies Bleeding. It's a great movie, and I kind of love it. I think there's a good chance it'll end the year in my top 10 and almost certainly be in my top 20. It deconstructs the American dream. A lot of these characters, or at least one of these characters, is very much trying to be something on their own. It's just highlighting that sometimes things can get in the way. Sometimes things that are in your control, and sometimes things that are a product of your environment. It also broadens female empowerment by depicting characters that aren't necessarily good people or always likable, but they are people and they are interesting and they have strengths, they have weaknesses. It's got a lot of it's a fusion of a few different kinds of thrillers. It's erotic thriller, it's psychological thriller, it's crime thriller. And it all works together seamlessly. There are themes of abuse, violence, love, lust, trauma, control. There's a lot of mystery and suspense. Almost, I think the whole movie is suspenseful. Once it gets going, it just kind of doesn't stop until the end. And it's not in like an exhausting way. It's in an engaging kind of way. There are motifs, symbols like bugs are a symbol. There's a lot of dark humor. There are times when I'm laughing at things I really am surprised to be laughing at. It's not necessarily making fun of things that you shouldn't make fun of. It's just juxtaposing interesting combination of feelings, and it just kind of is almost like ironic or new and surprising. There's a lot of relationships, dynamic relationships. The central relationship is very layered, I would say. A lot of different shifting desires there. That central relationship really is the driving force of the film. And there's some trope bending. Certain characters start out seeming like they're gonna fit into a certain type, and those characters are subverted. It's almost Coen Brothers-esque. Characters have distinct traits, motivations, and internal conflicts. The plot, emotions, and themes all work together. They're always just kind of interplaying, so it really keeps the story engaging. As far as the acting goes, there's physicality, like physical presence. There's a very good chemistry. You really buy how they feel about each other, and I think they really bring better performances out of each other. It's very synergistic. There are layers. Every character has a motivation or two, range. So you see a lot of different sides of these characters. You know, there's intimacy, there's also intensity, and I think there's really good patience. There are scenes where a character's pause really elevates the scene. So yeah, in the end, it's a really interesting contrast between beauty and brutality. It shows how those two polar opposites are also related and heighten each other and kind of create each other. From a technical standpoint, I think it's even better. It blends a lot of tones, a lot of genres, a lot of styles. It's very grounded and grimy and gritty with pops of flashy surrealism, and it really works. It's just it doesn't clash at all. The cinematography has motion, framing, depth, lighting, angles, and composition. I think the lighting especially stands out to me. It's very kind of sepia almost a lot of time with flashes of color. The composition, a lot of framing, a lot of close-ups, a lot of positioning within the frame. The editing gets pretty surreal too. It's very kind of dreamy with slow-mo and montages and like trails where it's kind of like almost like a hallucination. The pacing and momentum, like I said, are very, very much on point. It's a tough balance, creating tension, maintaining tension, and not being exhausting, and the editing really handles that well. The sound is maybe my favorite aspect of the film. It's got a lot of smash cuts, split cuts. The violence is really sold through the sound design. There's a lot of symbolic diegetics, like there's like beeping or ringing, and it's all happening in the reality of the movie, but it's conveying how the character is feeling, and it's emphasized and exaggerated. There's a lot of distortion. It's a very subjective sound design, so there's a lot of muffling and distortion. Like there's one scene where it's almost the entire scene, the sound design is distorted, and that really steals the scene. The music is ominous, rhythmic, operatic, synthetic, and juxtaposing, and it's very good at creating a mood or contrasting the mood and creating some humor or heightening the drama. The production design is great too. It's very grimy, Midwest America. It's got the 80s, but it's not glamorous, like a different side of the 80s. The cast is, I would say, just perfect fit. There's a good amount of fame and representation, and they're talented, but really the fit of these cast members is they're very well placed. The effects, I said there was some violence, and the effects really sell that. It's not too much, but when it's there, you'll see it and you'll notice it. So there's makeup, there's prosthetics, there's gore, and there's some CGI scenes that really get kind of surreal. So yeah, in the end, Love Lies Bleeding is a very juxtaposed movie. It's flashy and grungy at the same time. It's sweet but disgusting. And I think a lot of people might think it's just like a fun thrill ride, but it's saying some things too. So I think it's a good movie. I think it's worth checking out. And yeah, that's about all I have to say about it. So please feel free to weigh in the comments, and please like and subscribe if you feel so inclined. I also have a link to my Instagram, and I'd love for you to come check that out. I got a lot more reviews there, hundreds of reviews there. We have polls and we have trivia there. So come on and join us if you're interested. It's a lot of fun and games. But if all that's too much, if you don't have time or whatever, if you're just passing through, I appreciate you just taking the time to watch. So thank you, and see you next time.